Hi, we're back.
Hi, good to see you again.
It's Jennifer.
And it's Carol, the
from
Two
Tall
Tall
Stitchers. And we are just blown away by the outstanding response we've gotten from the YouTube community, from our friends and family. So we just want to start with a huge word of thanks.
Thank you.
We finished filming last time and said, wow, that was really fun. We'll do that again. And then you guys went crazy. And the last 4 weeks have basically been a series of 3,000 texts between us.
Lots of counting.
Yeah, so
and checking.
We're just so thrilled that you guys like what we have to share.
And thank you for so much for all your kind comments about what we've done and what we share with you. And as we said in the beginning, it's not just going to be cross stitch. We have some other things to share, and today we have a few more things to show you.
Today we have a lot, so I think we're ready to jump right in.
But yes,
thanks again for everybody who watched, liked, subscribed, and we hope you have a good time today. So,
and if you're new to our station, welcome. We hope you enjoy us, and we hope you stay with us and come back for more, because we're going to have all kinds of stuff. Good and bad, I guess. We'll see.
Okay, so first we're going to start with questions. We had quite a few questions in YouTube and from friends as well. So we'll go through and make sure we answer all of those questions. I think we've captured them all. We've done our very best, but if we have missed your question, please don't hesitate to ask it again and we'll reply as well. So the first question we got was about what kind of frames we use. And so this is a whip that Mom showed you last time. And the frames are called, they've gone under two different names, American Dream Products and Easy Stitch. And literally 2 days after I told you I didn't think they were making them anymore, I got my Stitchery catalog, and on page 64, right there, are the Easy Stitch frames. So I'll hold that up in case anybody wants to take a screen print of the product name or information, but it's available at the Stitchery, and you can get to the Stitchery at stitchery.com. We've also heard from several other people that there are additional places you can get these frames, so I would suggest if you're interested in one, search for E-Z Stitch, and hopefully you can find it that way. And we are always proponents of supporting your local needlework store, so first stop in there and check to see if they have them, and then if you can't find them there, you can use the other sources.
And a tip from me, if you order the frame, it comes with at least 2 sidebars, different sizes, and it comes with, I think I have 3 different lengths of crossbars, and you get 1 set of 4 knobs. Trust me, order a second set. Unless you happen to be on the airplane I was on many years ago where that knob is still rolling around somewhere.
Yeah, I think we've both lost knobs on airplanes.
Yeah.
So good advice, buy an extra set of knobs. Okay, the second question was from a bunch of our quilting friends, and it was about some of the different terms we use in cross stitch. And you wouldn't think cross stitch and quilting would be that different, but evidently they are. So, Mom, you want to go through some of the terms that we used last time and explain what they are?
Okay, the first one is a UFO, and quilters use that too, and it means unfinished object. And it's just something that you've been working on, but it's not really done. And we have UFOs quilting and stitching to show you today. The next one is, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. A whip, which is a work in progress, which is something that's finished but not totally finished.
I would say for me, like a UFO is something I have set aside and I'm no longer working on, whereas a whip is something I'll still pick up. It's still in my regular bag, or it's a quilt that's still on the table, whereas a UFO I've put it away. I'll come back to it another time.
And sometimes it surprises you and shows up and you're like, holy crap, I forgot I had that. So, and then FFO is fully finished, and we have some of those to show you today too. And that's where you've actually done the whole thing and you're actually finished with it, and you can show it to people and say, look what I did. And you don't have to say, but it isn't, the frame isn't fully finished, or I didn't do this, or I need to make it into a pillow. So yeah, sometimes we shock ourselves and get those too. Now the next question.
Fancy Floss.
Fancy Floss.
Yeah.
DMC, Anchor, and Sullivan are the flosses that you normally find in a store like Michael's or Joann's or I don't know if there's a TG in
Hobby
Wyla, maybe Hobby Lobby,
Yeah.
like that. And fancy floss you find in the quilt shops. You can also find it online. And that is, there are so many different kinds. The two that we use primarily are Weeks Dye Works and
Gentle Arts.
Sampler Thread.
Yeah.
And then there's this other one.
We've started to dig into
Come on.
Classic Colorworks as well.
So those are more expensive, but they are hand dyes, and the variations in the stitching are wonderful. And I can show you a couple of those today too. We both have that.
We both have pieces.
And they're more expensive. A lot of people wash their projects after they finish them. I have never given mine a bath because I've never gotten it that dirty. But if you wash one made with fancy floss, you will often wash out your colors because they're hand dyed and they're not color set. So think about that if you're going to use fancy floss. Keep your hands clean.
Yeah.
So okay, then.
All right, the next couple of questions were on your Christmas rules, which is the one you were just holding up. So you want to bring it up again.
Okay, and don't look at it because it's also one of my.
Well, you can show it now.
Whips.
And we'll talk
all right.
about it. Yeah. So the first question was about the fabric that you're using.
Yes, and it's 28 count crystal jade from Picture This Plus. And it's got such pretty sparkles in it. I don't know if it shows up on there, but it's really, really pretty. And I loved it when I saw it. They had it on the wall at Fancy Works, and of course, you know, you go into a store and you see models, and it's like, and then you go right down that rabbit hole. So anyway, I did work on this month, and I did get another segment done.
Yeah. And the second question was about the floss.
The floss.
What
and I'm
floss
using
are
the
you
cold
using?
fall colors because it's on the green versus a cream or a white. They may look a little different, but I'm pretty pleased with the way they're coming out.
And are you using DMC called
No,
for?
I'm using the mostly Weeks Dye Works.
Mostly
or
Weeks,
One of
okay.
them, yeah. Hold it up a little closer so they can see.
Yeah. And we'll just show this one now.
And you'll notice I have a snowman needle minder.
Okay. The next question was, where do we buy our patterns?
Ugh.
Everywhere. I would say primarily like to shop live. We will order patterns online from time to time. I've ordered a couple from Etsy, but I would say 9 times out of 10, we are buying patterns from a needlework shop either near us or as we travel. So you have
And we love to travel.
We do.
You just
Yeah.
tell us there's a shop and we're on our way.
Yeah. And you have a book that you...
Yes, I have a book that shows quilt shops, and it doesn't show many needlework shops, but usually if you can find a quilt shop and they know there's one around. Also, there's on Facebook, there's something called Stitchers...
Escapes.
I don't know if it's Escapes. I can't think of it. It escapes me right now. But
We'll put the information in the
we'll put
box.
that information down below. But that shows they've got a great list of charts in all different states and every place else.
Okay. And then another question for you.
Okay, somebody asked about the Let It Snow, which again, snowman. And so this is the pattern. It's from Heinzit. I call it Heinzit. I hope that's right. And when you get a Heinzit pattern, it does not come with the frame, but it does come with the charms. So I don't know that it's still available. You can check with your stores. They might be able to order it. It's called Mini Block Let It Snow. And there's no number or anything.
We'll link to Heinzit's
Yeah,
website,
we'll link.
and you can check there to see if that one's still available.
Yeah. And usually hers are very quick because most of them tend to be just the border and the dividers and then letters. And I've made a ton of these. God, I've made a ton of these.
Yeah. Okay, next question was about the necklace you had on last time.
Last time I had on my button necklace. And yes, that was buttons. I bought that when we lived in Houston. I used to go to the International Quilt Festival every year. And that was another big rabbit hole to go down, let me tell you. And we had a blast there. And one of the first years I went, they had this kit, and it was all those buttons and all these tiny little gold beads. And I came home that night, and I put it together. I was shocked. It was less than 24 hours old when I put it on my neck. And it was done with unwaxed dental floss. It was very interesting. I don't have the information anymore who had it or anything, but it was just the small beads, and there were just tons of them.
Just basically in and out, the buttons and the beads.
And the beads held it together. If you really want to see it again, I can bring it up next time and show you.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Oh, we talked about when I was showing you my fabric, we talked about the pattern I wanted to do, and we called it Christmas Rules by Silver Creek Samplers. That was wrong. It's my Christmas List by Silver Creek Samplers. And I do have that pattern. It showed up mysteriously. It just kind of jumped out and said, hey, stupid, here it is. So.
Okay, and then I had a question last time I showed my stitching that was finished in a box. How do you do that? I wrapped it around foam core, and then you just pop it right into the box. It's quite easy. I'll have more of those finishes in the future, so I will show a little bit more about how I do that, but it's a pretty easy finish. Next question was, where was our mother-daughter weekend?
Oh, that was great. We were in Bel Air, Michigan, which is a little tiny town up near Traverse City, and Charlevoix, Michigan, way up in Michigan. It took us a long time to get there, but of course when you stop at 4 or 5 quilt shops along the way, it does lengthen your trip. But we went up there, and it was a wonderful little house that was on a lake, and she had it set up where she had 2 recliners, and it looked out the window right at the lake, so we could just sit there and stitch. It was really neat. And then the worst part, the best part, was there was a great quilt shop in town. For a little tiny town. It had a wonderful quilt shop and a great toy store.
Yeah.
And then we also did manage to find a couple more quilt shops.
Yep, we did.
We had fun.
All right, the next question was about the tutorial that we use for our pillow finishes, and I did link that last time. I used Kathy Haberman's tutorial to finish pillows. I think she does a really nice job where you snip it in the back, and I think you might have done that on one of your FFOs.
And it worked. It worked.
So you'll see that again in a little while. And the last question we had was how we store our floss. We are not super fancy in how we store our floss. We've collected a lot over the years. I think we decided last time we've been stitching for many years, more than 20 years. And so we both do it kind of similarly. We have different size boxes, but we have these plastic boxes. We like to buy our boxes at the Container Store, just because we love to go to the Container Store, but they're nice boxes, and this one is probably the shoebox size. I use one that's just a little bit smaller, and then inside of that shoebox, there's a giant ring with all of the colors on it.
And that's the sampler thread, and these two are Weeks Dye Works.
Yeah.
So they look bad, but actually they're all in alphabetical order, which makes them very easy to find. Some people file them by number. I'd go crazy. DMC you do by number, but when you're using Fancy Floss, they usually tell you the colors, not the number.
Yeah. Okay, a couple of other questions that I have on my laptop from YouTube. So the first was, where did I attend college in Michigan? I went to a small school called Alma College that's in Alma, Michigan, and absolutely loved it. The next one was for you. What part of New Jersey are you from?
I'm from northern New Jersey. I was born in Newark, but I grew up in Englewood, which is close to Fort Lee and the George Washington Bridge.
Okay. The next one was, may I suggest you do a quilt parade once a month? We may not do it every single month, but certainly as we have quilting projects, we will show them, and we have quite a few to show today. So we'll go through our cross stitch first, and then we'll go on to quilting.
And if you're not a quilter, you can just go away, or you can close your eyes. But stay around to the end.
Let's see. I think we've answered most of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, so another question was about cross-stitch stores in our area, and we'll link that again down in our description
Notes,
box below, but you can also look back at our first Flosstube. We did link those stores. We are very lucky to have some great shops within a couple of hours. Our closest shop that we go to frequently is called Persnickety Stitchers, and then the second one that we go to quite a bit is Fancy Works in Bloomington, Illinois.
And what's really scary is Persnickety is only about 5 minutes away.
Okay, so that's all the questions. So now we are going to jump into a lot of different things. We thought we would start by sharing project bags because a lot of people are interested to know how do you keep things while you're stitching. So we have found a tutorial a couple of years ago by Calico, and we will again link that below, on how to make the vinyl front project bags. And I think I'll start with this one. This is probably the first one that I got that my mom made for me. This one, I'll show the back. It's pretty cute. It's dog fabric on the back. We both are dog families. Some Moda Grunge inside, and then just zippered. And this will hold like an 8.5 by 11 book. So it's the perfect size. It holds...
Hold a magnetic board.
It'll hold a magnetic board. It won't hold a Q-snapper frame all the way, but they're great project bags. Then the second one I'll share is one I made last year. So these are some fabrics I found at a quilt shop in Illinois when we were shopping with one of our friends. Hi, Paula. And I made this one into a bag, and it has a nice kind of salmon-y color on the back, and then some bees and some flowers on the front. So that's kind of my spring bag. And then this is my new favorite. I made this one when we were sewing together either late last year or earlier this year. This is my Christmas bag. So for many years in quilting, we both bought a lot of what we call conversation prints, which is, you know, something like this that's very busy. It might be hard to use in a quilt, but we both love them and we both buy them. So we're thrilled now to find project bags because it's a perfect way to use a fabric like this. So this one is just a plain green on the back with this older kind of snow globe fabric on the front.
And it has reindeer, which she likes.
Yes, definitely have the reindeer. So those are mine, and you have a couple to share too.
Yeah, this one I have had this print fabric forever. I was going to make a skirt, but my God, that was years ago. So I just love the colors and everything. So I found the polka dots on the back, and then the green and everything, and they're great. And then, of course, as we said many times, I love snowmen. And when I saw this, I could not pass it up. So there's my snowman bag, and I have snowflakes for the rest of it. And I have several more, but that's enough.
We'll share more as we go, as we pull our projects out of them, but those are a few we had handy today. And again, we use a tutorial from Calico that we'll link below. She does a really nice video tutorial of how to make the bags. So then I think we'll go now and we'll progress through kind of new starts, whips, finishes, and then fully finished items. So did you have any new starts since last time?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Then we'll start with mine. So I had 2 new starts. So the first one is actually a pattern you saw in my haul last time. It's from the Words to Live By series from Tiny Modernist. This is the Be Kind item. And I just started that this last weekend. We did a quick little trip to see my cousins, and so I took something easy. This is on black Ada, and I just got a nice little start, and I am using the called for DMC colors for this one. So hopefully it's gonna go quickly. It's fun to stitch on. The second one that I had as a new start is my ornament for March, and we're trying to stitch 1 ornament a month all year, and in theory finish them too. We'll see if that happens. This is from the 2011 Christmas Ornament magazine,
and we have lots of them.
We have lots of those, and it is this one right here, this little cat, Christmas cat tree, and the design is by Britter Cup Designs. If you're a cat fan, you've probably seen a lot of theirs. And I decided to switch it up and make a gray cat because that's what our cat is. So I got a good start on that. I thought that March ended today. And I was kind of mad because I wasn't going to finish it. And then this morning I looked at the calendar and realized we still have 3 more days in March. So I will probably get this one to the finished stage, but not the full FFO by the end of the month. I just have, I think, 1 more tree branch and then some ornaments and the whiskers on the cat. So this one has been really fun. I'm stitching it on another scrap from my stash. It's a 28 count white even weave, and it's super easy to stitch on and a great use for a little bit of leftover fabric.
Yep.
So that is what I started. Any other whips for you?
Yes. In my attempt to make an ornament every month, I think I've mentioned before, I have a lot of Mill Hill, and that's beaded projects, and a lot of them are small. So this is the one I've been working on, and I was hoping to get it done. Crooked. All right, I was hoping to get it done, but you know how life goes. So this is my ornament, and it's coming along well. I'm close to starting the beading, but when you miscount, you have to sometimes redo sections of it, which I did, but I fixed it. So I should have this done hopefully by next month, because the beading will go pretty quickly and most of the stitching is done. You do all the floss first, and then you go back and do the beads.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a full coverage piece. It's a little piece, but it is a lot of stitching. Sometimes we look at these Mill Hills and think, oh,
and I have a few beads to put on. So it'll be fine. We'll get it done.
Okay, and then the last one I think is the other project that I have in progress. I showed this to you last time as well. This is my Christmas Wishes kit from Jan Lynn, and I am working on the snowman right here. I decided last time that I had just decided that I was going to make it my lunchtime project. I don't get to stitch every day at lunch, but I'm still working from home, so as much as possible I do. And I actually made some really good progress. So last time I showed it to you, I had about 3/4 of the border done. I was somewhere over here. So I finished the border and I started the hat. There is one little problem though. If you are looking very closely, my border doesn't end at the same place. So I was gonna start to stitch the last border across the bottom, but I decided I would start at the hat and go down. So I'm working my way there, and hopefully it'll work out well in these cutouts where the side of the hat goes, and I'll just be able to like unch in another row over here or take one out over here. But this is actually, I'm enjoying it a lot more now that I have it as a lunchtime project. It's not my favorite stitching on plastic canvas, but if I do it in little spurts like that, it's kind of fun.
Okay, we go to finishes.
Yes.
And I was working on this the last time I showed you, and I had it on a smaller frame, and this is the Spring ABCs. And it looks really nice until you get to the bottom. So start at the top, way at the top, and see there's you know, it looks really good, really good. And I'm really pleased. It finished quickly. It was really nice until I got to the X, Y, and Z, and I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough fabric. Yikes. And I don't know whether I figured it wrong or I don't know where I bought the fabric. I cannot remember, but it's going to be a challenge to finish it. It's going to go in that frame that I have for the other 3 seasons, which are finished, but we're going to have to do a little special work on that to get that in the frame. Yeah. Because I don't know. But it's fine. It's done, and we'll make it work. It'll be okay.
Yeah. And it's really pretty.
Yeah.
And you use
I used the called for
colors. And actually,
and it was fancy floss.
This is a good example of fancy floss. If you look at this house, you can see the variegation in both the brown and the blue. Yeah. And that's what comes from fancy floss. You stitch it 1 stitch at a time, so you finish a full X and then move to the next one to have that variegation show up well. All right.
And you use two pieces of floss at a time. When you're using DMC, you can often take one and loop it so that when you start, you just loop through and you don't have to bury the thread. But then you use it's the same. Whereas with this, you don't want to do that. You use 2 colors together, two strands together.
2 straight strands, yeah. No loop. All right, and then I had 2 finishes this month. So I showed you the start of this one last time. This is Country Cottage Needleworks, Snow Place Like Home, and this is Snow Place 2. And I'm considering each section a finish. So I got that one done. And so I'll show you that one first, and then I'll show you both of them together. I am using most of the called for colors here. I did change the blue. It's a Needle Necessities instead of the called for. but that is my second house. I love that little red house. I love the trees. They're probably my favorite thing. And then if I open it up, these are the first 2 months together. So I will get back to this. There's 5 pieces all together. So I will get back to this soon and get started on part 3. And then the last finish that I have for you this month, I also showed you last month. I had just started it. It is from Val's Stuff, and it's called Wrap It Up. This is one I think I bought on clearance, but I thought it was super cute, and I got these cute little bunnies all finished. It is on a 28 count white jacquard banding, and I think it's really pretty. I don't know if it shows up the edges of the banding there. But I had a lot of fun stitching these. I actually probably stitched about 6 bunnies because I made a lot of mistakes. These bunny ears look deceptively simple. They're not. I almost had 3 bunnies that didn't look the same at all. But anyway, I got it done. I did substitute some colors. I just went with what kind of looked good together. So these were not the called for colors in the pattern. If you're interested to know which colors I used, I will be happy to share that. Just leave me a comment and I'll send you a note back with that one. And now, we had to laugh because last time we said, both of us said we're not that great at finishing. And then we got off and we started to have some comments and some views and then subscribers. And then we looked at each other and said, oh my gosh, we have to finish some stuff. So we've been working hard these past couple of weeks.
Frantically is another word.
Yes. I came up for an afternoon one day and
stayed till 11 o'clock.
Yeah, stayed late, worked on some finishing so that we would have some fun stuff to show you in the FFO category. So why don't you start?
Mill Hill. I have had these guys done for a long time. And when I was Zooming with my quilt bee this week, I actually got my act together and made the hangers for them. That's all they needed, and they needed to go on. I got sticky felt, cut them out, put the hangers on, and they're finished. And you know what? That gives me 4 for this year. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So technically, I'm ahead. Technically, we'll see. And then these are. Whoops, here we go. These are Halloween ones. I love that boo. And those have been done quite a while too, but now they're finished.
Yeah, and you used the beads for the hangers.
Yes.
And do you remember how many strands of thread you used in there?
This part, I think it was 3 strands, the coverage when you're doing on the perforated paper, and I just used 2 for the beads, and I used the beads in the kit, and I didn't have enough for solid colors except for the jingle, but I really like kind of the way I alternated the colors that made them a little dressier.
Yes.
Whoops, stop.
Hold up the other one too.
Oh, okay. And then there's this guy.
There's all 4.
So yeah, so there's
Look
4.
how cute.
How's that for shocking? Shocking. And then I had another finish, and Jennifer had talked about doing the pillows the way Kathy Haberman does, where she sews them all together and then makes a snip in the back and stuffs it. Well, I'm not always real anxious to jump into things that I've never done before, so I did, and I finished my I think it's Lizzie Kate, and I didn't pull the pattern up. I might be Christmas ABCs or something, and then that fabric was a scrap that I had, so I actually used some of my scrap fabric, and then I cut that little hole in the back, and it worked.
And so, after you stuffed the pillow, you just fused this piece on.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you just wrote your initials
and the year
on that. Yeah,
scrap.
So it's a really nice way to finish it up that makes all the sides look really nice.
So yay.
Look at that.
Yay.
Okay, and then I also have, I only have 2 finishes.
Aw, poor baby.
The first one also is a pillow finish. So this is Where Liberty Dwells by Kathy Haberman, and this is a series that she put out a couple of years ago. I started to stitch it and lost my thread, and so it went away for a while, and then when I found my thread, it came back out. And this pattern came with the option to either do it as a pillow or a drum, and it came with, this is like a velveteen red fabric which I think comes from, who does the trims? Okay.
We'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out and add it to the description. But I finished that with the backing that came in the kit, and I love how you can just barely see the red over the edges. So I'm really pleased with this one. I look forward to having that out over. I kind of do patriotic decorations all the way from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So I'll put this out with those decorations.
And Kathy Haberman is hands-on design.
Hands-on design, thank you. And then the second one I did is I took my ornament from February that I showed you stitched last month, and I got myself to Michael's, bought a 4-inch frame. I wrapped it in some leftover fabric, and which was really fun because I actually wrapped the wrong part the first time around, and I started to put it together, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not going to show. So we ripped that off. I wrapped it around the right part of the hoop, and really I just did a dot of glue and then wrapped it tightly all the way around and a dot of glue at the end. And then this morning I just put a little ribbon on that. Won't really stay straight, but
we're working on bows.
Yeah, working on bows. But this is my first Christmas ornament that's finished for the year, and I did the same thing with felt on the back. And I actually started doing this a few years ago. I think I got the idea from Vanna Pfeiffer. Just to stitch your initials and the year and then glue it on the back. So that's how I do a lot of my little finishes now.
And Vanna Pfeiffer is the Twisted Stitcher. She has great finishing tutorials.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. She and Kathy Haberman both are, wow.
Yeah.
They help. They're the ones we've seen.
This is Santa A Little Doodles kit. So if you can find the doodles, you can find this Santa. And he was stitched on 28 count Quaker cloth in the color Rue Green.
And don't kill yourself looking for these doodles, because we found them at the cross stitch store in Evansville probably 9 years ago, and we pretty much bought whatever she had left. And I have Googled them like crazy, and you get all kinds of things when you Google doodles, but you don't get these. So I don't think they're in business anymore. I don't think they're available. I think what she had was probably the end, and we were fortunate to get a few of them. And I have some that are actually, I found them and they were done. So maybe I'll actually get them finished FFO'd by the time we do this again.
Yeah. All right, so I think now that's all of our stitching, all of our finishing. We'll go into haul. And we both did a little bit of shopping since the last time.
I was really good this month. I was really good. I did not go to crossstitchingsupplies.com, mainly because she was so busy after her sale that she shut down for a week, which was great for me. But I did see this pattern, and it's by Sue Hillis Designs, and it's called Beer.
It doesn't have a name.
Yeah, well, it's beer. Yeah. And it's beer helping men dance. And so my son and my son-in-law are both beer drinkers. And when I saw this, I thought, oh my goodness, that's perfect. So that's going to be their Christmas or birthday presents. And then I also ordered the charm so that I can make 2 of them. It comes with a charm, and I didn't know that, but I ordered 2 extras, so well, I have an extra one. But this is it comes with the little pretzels that go on it, so it's going to be cute. And then this was this came in my package, and it was a freebie. And you know I'm going to have to make that because it's a snowman.
And this is also Sue Hillis.
Yeah.
It's called a complimentary chart. And did you order directly from
her?
Sue?
I ordered from her website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll link her website below in case you want the beer pattern or you want to order some things to get that complimentary chart.
And she's got other great patterns, but the beer just really resonates in my house.
Yeah. And then my haul actually was related to a trip to Michael's. So I went over to Michael's and dropped off a few stitch pieces to be framed. Hopefully I'll have them to show you next time. I'm really excited. I took a whole hanger full of stitched items and laid them all out. I had everything laid out across the Michael's framing counter. And in the end, I found frames and something that would work for 2 of them. So I always, when I go to take things to decide on like how do I want to finish it or how do I want to frame it, I always take more things than I think I might find frames for, because I figure if you take more, you're more likely to find something. And then after I finished that, I wandered around the store and I found 2 pieces that I wanted to share that I thought would be great for finishing. So this is the first one. This was back in the frame section. It was actually marked on clearance. And it's got this little clip at the top. It's a clipboard, and then it just sits like an easel. So I have a lot of kind of small pieces. I'm sure I have a series I haven't started yet that will work with this. But I thought that was a great piece for just something that you want to put up on the table or something that you want to rotate out seasonally. So,
and it's easy to change.
Yeah, very easy to change. I would not clip the stitching part in here. I would probably put a ribbon or something and clip the ribbon, and then your stitching would be right below it. So that's that piece I found at Michael's, and that was about, I think it was about $10. And then the second piece that I found was in the front of the store, and this was in the spring section. Now they are kind of clearancing it out now, so I don't, or not clearance yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it was clearance.
it's pretty cleaned out. So I found this frame, and this is an easel. It has a ribbon in the middle. It's the same on both sides. They had red and they had brown. And I have hands-on design knee-high by the 4th of July, which I thought would look fabulous in this. I have that in my bag to start someday soon. I may join in that Americana April and get that one started because I think it'll look great on here. And what I'll just do in that one, I'll look at the red that they call for in the pattern and look at the red on this frame and probably make an adjustment so that it matches really well. And then I could even do a second one on the back so I can flip it around. So that's your enablement. Check out Michael's for a couple of finishing items.
And she did enable her mother, who immediately went over to Michael's and bought both of them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I think
that's our haul. Yeah.
That's all of our cross stitch. We are going to have a few giveaways at the end. So if you're not into quilting, you can fast forward a little bit. But if you enjoy quilting, please hang in there because we also have some whips and finishes to share in the quilting space.
But not as long.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't be as worried.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you start?
We have a friend who has a quilt shop called Lucky Star Quilts, and she put out a challenge a few weeks ago and said, you know how you go to a show or you go into a shop and they're demonstrating a tool and you go, oh, that's really great. It could be a ruler, it could be any kind of tool, and you think that's wonderful, and you bring it home and it gets kind of slides off into the darkness and you don't use it. Well, her challenge was dig out a tool and use it, and both of us did that. And shockingly enough, we're both pretty pleased with the results. I'm not quite as finished as Jennifer is, but mine was Quilt in a Day, which is Eleanor Burns, and this is called Shining Stars. And the rulers, I don't know if they're going to show up on the white. Maybe. We may have to do them on the...
Let me
try
flip this.
So it's triangle and a square rulers, and there's 2 of them, and... it was amazing. I really had fun doing it. It was neat, and it's not finished yet. I still need to put some borders on, but that's my triangle and a square ruler. And I will probably use this again, actually, even though it's been hiding for years in my stuff.
And do you want to talk about where you got the fabrics for this?
Well, the fabrics, a friend gave me a what they call a charm pack, which is 5-inch squares. So I pulled those out for the middle. And then my star points in the background are what they call grunge. You can see it's kind of grungy. And I went through, and unfortunately I also have a great collection of grunge, and I was able to find something to complement every one of those centers. So I will have this definitely at the finished stage. I don't know if it'll be fully quilted by next time, but I'm really excited about it.
So what are you going to do next? Are you going to...
then one more border of the grunge goes on, and then a narrow border, and then they said they had a floral border that, this is the pattern. They show a floral border, but I, of course, don't have that fabric, and who has the name of the charm pack that they had? So I'm going to have to go to the quilt store, darn it, and see what I can find to kind of complement my centers, and then I will have the borders, and then I will either stitch in the ditch, which I am famous for, or Miss Jennifer will put it on her long arm and make it look really nice.
Yes. And for the exact same challenge, I dug through and I found this ruler, which is the mini Fit to be Geese ruler from Open Gate Quilts. And it's a really cool way to make flying geese, which are not an easy quilt block to make. And in the bag that had that, I also had this quilt pattern. So I'm not sure if it came with the ruler.
I think it did.
Or if it was bought separately. But I took a look at that, and then I went into my bundles of fabric, and I found this gorgeous bundle of fabrics that are hand-dyed fabrics from Australia. And I thought this would be a great little mini quilt for summer. This is finished for the quilt top, and now I'll need to quilt it. But these are hand-dyed Australian fabrics, and so I'll just show up close. I'm so happy with how all those geese went together. The fabrics have little patterns and little Australian animals on them, so they're really fun fabrics, and I'm looking forward to finishing this. I have a little mini wall in my sewing area in my basement, and this will go up on the mini wall.
This did come with it because the pattern is called Mini Fit to be Geese.
Okay,
so
good.
Yeah, it did come with it.
So that came together.
Yeah.
And then we also have a couple of finished quilts. So I think we'll talk about it, and then I'll stand up and hold it up.
I think this is from Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and I can't remember, but I think it was a mystery quilt, and you got the directions to put it together, and my friend Pam quilted it on her long arm, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it's really, really pretty. It's a fun quilt. It's a nice wall hanging, and if you bring it closer, she used red thread so you can see she quilted all the hearts around it here, and she did some really, really pretty quilting on it. And then the back came from them too, and the back I think is really pretty. It just went together well, and it's actually bound and done. I have a sleeve on it for hanging, and I haven't put a label on it yet. And then my other one, which is finished, is a baby quilt, and it's my own design, but it's called an I Spy quilt. And what it is the child can look at it and you can say, where are the basketballs? You know, where's the fire engine? Where are the planets? That kind of stuff. So that they can really kind of learn to pick out things, baseballs and stuff. His name is Roxon, which I've never heard before, but it worked out well. And then it's just fun, and it's a small quilt, but it's for a baby. And so then on the back, I have great fabric that is all basically 3-letter words. So once he starts to read, he'll be able to learn to read at the same time as find all those animals. So I'm really pleased with that, and that will go off in the mail to my sister-in-law this week. And most of those were out of my scrap bin. Not out of my, Jennifer and mine, and then we have a great quilt shop near us, and when I went in to try and find a background fabric, he said, oh, how many do you need? And I said, well, I need 30 and I have 12. And he said, here, and he pulled out a bag of scraps, and let me just go through, and we pulled out, I know we got the Colts, and we got this baseball one, I think we got the basketball one, he had a bunch. And maybe the tractors. Yeah, he just gave them to me when I bought the fabric. So that was really nice. So those are our finishes.
Yours.
You have my finishes, sorry.
Okay. And then I have 3 quilt finishes, and we'll start with the smallest one. I showed this to you last time, actually, as a whip. And this is my mini quilt Pressing Matters from artfabrik.com. Laura Wazalowski's company, and I found that I bought this in 2010. That's what the receipt says in the package, and last time I was debating whether I was done with all the stitching, and I decided I was. So all I had to do was add the binding onto this. This is a fused binding. You cut it with your wavy rotary cutter, and then you fuse it on. It is hand-dyed fabric and hand-dyed thread, and I'll just show up close so you can see some of the color variegation in that thread. It's just beautiful. So yeah, this was a fun little project. This also will go on my miniature wall. It's about, I would say about 8 by 10 inches. On the back you can see all my embroidery, but you see the binding finishes back there quite nicely. So that was great. That's one of my quilt UFOs. Just like we're stitching 12 ornaments a month, we participate in UFO challenges for quilting and try and finish up our unfinished quilts. So the next one is one of those challenges. So I'll kind of hold it up here and then I'll stand up and hold it up. So this quilt was started in 2006 and it was a mystery quilt by Meadow Mist Designs, and I'll link her website below. She does a mystery quilt once a year. They're always really pretty, and I had a lot of fun pulling fabric from my stash. I started with this dot fabric, which I had bought on some quilting shopping trip at some point, and then I pulled the teal and different oranges, and then I just had a plain kind of cream background. And so this one is quite large. It's 72 inches square. And I'll talk maybe about the quilting and then I'll hold it up. So I quilted it with straight lines. I put channel locks on my machine. I have a Handy Quilter HQ Avante long arm quilting machine, which I love. And then I went and picked out some orange grunge for the binding. I didn't have any more of the fabric that was in the stars, so I had to go find something that worked, and I think it works really nicely. So I will hold this up the best I can, and then I will also try and insert a picture of it all finished. So there is that one.
It's big.
And then the second quilt that I finished is a bed quilt for my son. So he is growing very quickly and said to me last year, or maybe even the end of 2019, that he wanted a longer bed quilt. And so we looked through several patterns and wound up with this one. This is Irish Chain Quilts by Melissa Corry. I bought this book specifically for this pattern that's on the front. I loved it. I took one look at it and figured out how much work it was, and then I tucked this book away for a long time. But when your son says, "Mom, I like this, will you make me a quilt?" then you pull the book out again and say, "Okay, here we go." So for this one, I had to make scrap blocks. So each block of the quilt has a scrap block that you then cut up and piece with background fabric, which is also scrappy. So for him, we decided to do a dark background, and so I did it in royal blues. And this quilt is a twin extra long, so it definitely won't all fit in the picture. So that is
Here, drop
Jack's
it
new
halfway
quilt.
so they can see the other colors. No,
Yeah.
Just fold it in half. Yeah.
Okay.
And the best part is some of those scraps are from me.
Yes.
So that's less fabric she has to go through when I kick the bucket.
And this one I quilted with what's called a pantograph, which is a pattern that you put on your machine and then you follow the lines. And I used a royal blue, and this one is called Spiral Squares. It's a favorite of me and many other quilters. So you can see the royal blue on the black backing of the quilt. And then I got another royal blue to bind that. So this is a really fun finish. He immediately took it up and started sleeping with it that night. He told me he loves it, and this morning I had to steal it from him to be able to bring it here.
And the best part is it doesn't smell yet.
Right. So I think that's everything.
I think so.
So that brings us to the last part. We did mention before, we amazingly got to over 1,000 subscribers already, which we're so
so happy.
Happy.
And we're so pleased because you impressed the devil out of my granddaughter.
Yeah.
She was convinced, when they had a discussion at home about when we would get to, she said, well, we had like 25 or something. She says, well, when you get to 1,000, we'll see. But that'll be by the end of the year. 10 days later, we had 1,000 subscribers, and little Miss Princess had to eat her words. It was wonderful to watch a 15-year-old eat her words. It's great.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So we have 3 giveaways. And the way that you're going to enter is that you're going to like this video, you're going to subscribe if you haven't already, and you're going to leave a comment with the keyword for each item. If you want to get creative and put that into a sentence, that'll be fine. Otherwise, you can just put the word at the end of your comment, and you can enter for up to 3 items.
But you only can win one.
You can only win one. Yep. We will ship these. I think we'll ship them anywhere in the world for this one.
Sure.
They're pretty small and flat. And
please don't say free, don't say giveaway, don't say anything like that, because there are people who evidently go through and just scan for those words and then they enter, and you don't want some scuzzy guy getting something really neat from us. So.
But we wouldn't mind if we had a male cross stitcher
a nice male cross stitcher would be fine, or a nice male quilter, but we don't want some scuzzy guy who doesn't even know what quilting is.
Okay, so the first item is a bag that Mom made. And this is just a little bag. You could use it for electronics cords, for jewelry.
You put scissors.
You can put all of your notions. Like when you stitch, you have your scissors, your needles, extra threads. It's a fully lined bag with cork on the bottom. And what is this? About 7 by 4. Yeah. About 7 inches long by about 4 inches tall. So. This is our first item, and for this one, we're going to ask you to use the word cork, C-O-R-K. So if you're interested in winning this bag, please use the word cork in your comments. The second one is a pattern by one of Mom's favorites. This is from Heinzit, and I'm actually going to turn it this way. This is the fabric called, or the pattern called Mini Block Friends, and because we have so many new friends on YouTube, we thought this would be a great giveaway, and it does come with all of the charms for this one. So that's number 2. So if you're interested in this one, please use the word friend or friends with an S. And then the third pattern is one that I had in my stash from a grab bag I got several years ago and haven't stitched, and I'd like to share it with someone else so they can stitch it, and it's called Run Rabbit Run by the Sewing Circle. And so if you're interested in this one, please use the word rabbit. And I think that's everything we have today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So once again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking with us here through the video. Yeah. And
if you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. We really appreciate it. And we'd love to tell Jenna that you're back.
And I think we'll finish off the same way we did last time. Yes. Keep stitching.
Keep crafting.
Keep quilting.
Keep knitting.
Keep crocheting.
Keep embroidering.
Keep doing things that you love. Yes. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
See you soon.
Bye.